We're thinking today about Abraham, start this short series, and we're going to sort of break it into two parts this morning and try and keep both parts relatively short. But I want to read firstly some words from Genesis 12, which is this week's reading. I won't read the whole of it, but I will read the first few verses of Abraham's call. And then we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So Genesis 12, sorry, I didn't put a page number. Again, put on the screen, the whole thing was kind of planning stations on Friday trying to get this sorted. So, anyone got a page number of Genesis 12?
13.
13? 13. Okay. The Lord has said to Abraham, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." We'll stop there, but you can read the rest of the chapter during the week, and I would encourage you to do that as part of our Readers 1 this week. So we are beginning this short series on Abraham. And we are starting with Genesis 12, which I was reading last week, some have called the single most important passage in the Bible. Genesis 12, the single most important passage in the Bible. Well, that may be stretching things a bit, and we may have a bit of an argument about that and what we think is the most important passage in the Bible. But it is true that from Genesis 12, this call of Abraham, everything that flows from this one chapter in the Bible, all the storyline that comes after this, all really originates from this one chapter, Genesis 12, this one event, God choosing Abraham. And it says that Abraham was a very normal guy, but God chose him for a very special purpose. To be the father of God's holy people. Big task. Big task. Abraham, you might think, well, if God called him to be the father of kind of God's nation, God's people, he must have been a very holy man for that to happen. No. Abraham actually came from a family of idol worshippers. That's idol as in I-D-O-L and not I-D-L-E. They weren't worshipping being lazy. In fact, get this. Abraham's father, Terah, was a professional maker of idols. And they lived in a land, a place called Ur, U-R. And his entire family, Abraham's entire family, worshipped idols, made by their own hands. And his background is that of a man really, you would think, least qualified to do a task from God, a divine task. But God doesn't call the qualified, does he, so often? There is not the slightest hint in this passage of what we know about Abraham, that he was agonizing or seeking or praying or looking for God anywhere. It doesn't say anything about that. It just says rather that the whole initiative was God calling this man Abraham, kind of almost out of nowhere. And God often does that. picking people who seem least likely to do something amazing for him. So watch out. If you feel ordinary, you may be the very person that God will call. Any ordinary people here could be here. And he chooses to do something wonderful through ordinary people. Okay, you might say, well, Abraham was perhaps a young, energetic man with loads of life in him and ready to have lots of kids to start this family, to start this nation up, and he would support his big family, right? And no. As we saw in the illustration earlier on, when Abraham upsticked and started out on his journey to begin this nation, this pulling together of God's people, he was past retiring age. So some of you here, watch out. God doesn't take that kind of "I'm too old for that" as an excuse. So here is Abraham, 70 plus, 75, and he's on a journey to Canaan. And the only family he takes with him is his brother, called Lot, and his wife, Sarah. So we've got a father who he left behind, who is called Terah. His brother is called Lot, and he left his city called Ur. So I just mused during the week. You could say that Abraham said Terah to his father, left Ur, and took a Lot.
How long did it take?
Yeah, no, it didn't take long at all, really. As you can probably tell. Anyway, the point is that God chooses a sinner who is a pensioner to go and kickstart a nation, God's nation. Brilliant plan, God, you think? Who would have thought that? Better get going then, Abraham and Sarah. You've got a big family to make. You better get this thing underway. And so, as we were thinking about on Friday at Messy Church, they waited. And they waited. No children. And after years, they grew impatient. Still no children. God had promised them descendants numbering more than the stars in the sky that they could count. That's not all the stars in the sky, just the ones that they could count. It was kind of a way of illustrating. But nothing. And so they grew impatient. They go and think, perhaps God's got this wrong. Perhaps we better do something about this. Perhaps we're not doing the right thing. And so they took things under their own wings and they did a shortcut. Probably the only thing that you could do in those days, a few thousand years ago, and that was to use a surrogate. But God wasn't having any of that. He said, I told you that you too would have a son. You too would have a son. Just trust me and wait. And that's what they did. They waited. And they waited. And we'll come back in a minute to see what happened.
3 came along all at once.
So God chose Abraham to father his nation, his people, and to basically begin the Jewish race. And that's a big deal.
Really?
Yeah,
Put it back on.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And God wasn't having any shortcuts. No surrogate thing. No anything other than I'm just waiting on God to provide for a real son to the husband and wife that God chose. And so how many sons did Abraham and Sarah have to get this vast nation going? Well,
One.
a son called Isaac. And he was finally born to Abraham and Sarah when Abraham was 100.
Ouch.
25 years of waiting, 25 years of waiting from that initial call. And we get very impatient when something doesn't happen after 25 hours. We used to sing the hymn, God works in mysterious ways. And, but isn't that good that he works in mysterious ways? Isn't it great that our Heavenly Father comes into the lives of every man and woman and boy and girl and speaks to us individually and has a plan for us and calls us and has a wonderful purpose for our lives? I wonder if you are glad that God intervenes in people's lives. I wonder if you are looking for God to intervene in your life. He came to Abraham, who belonged to a family that never even went to church. Never even thought about worshipping God. Less worshipping and being part of a godly family. And so you are here this morning, or you're watching at home on YouTube, and you might think, well, God's not really interested in me. I hope that Abraham might set you thinking otherwise. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how much church you've been to in the past, doesn't matter what you do and what you've done, doesn't matter what your age is. We learn from Abraham that God can call anyone. And I wonder if you are hearing God this morning. Whether you're just sensing maybe a little voice, maybe in a still way, or maybe in some dynamic way, that at this moment you're really feeling God's talking to you. I don't know. I wonder if you can hear him say, hey, I want you to do something for me. I've got a purpose for you, and I want to guide you through that purpose. I've got a task for you to do. Are you up for it? And God says, don't go telling me you're too old, or you're too young, or you're not religious enough. That doesn't cut it. If I'm calling you, I'm calling you. Are you listening? What is your response? You know, Abraham had been worshipping the sun. That bright thing in the sky at the moment. It's good. He had been a sun worshipper. Because, well, to them in those days, the sun was powerful, the sun was visible, you could see it, the sun deserved some praise because it provided them with light and warmth and all those things. But God, the great I Am, the creator of the sun, came to Abraham and said, go from this country, go from this people. I've got a job for you to do, and I will make a great nation out of you. Is God calling you? Well, actually, he probably is. You just got to tune in and listen. And maybe you're not sure at the moment, and that's okay. God's patient, remember. But we need to be listening, opening our spiritual ears, so to speak, tuning into him. And for us, he's calling us not to be worshippers of the sun, but worshippers of the Son, Jesus Christ, who gave his life for us. Because instead of worshipping things that were created, we should be worshipping someone who is the Creator. Oh, you know, there's a lot of interesting things in the story of Abraham, and we've kind of scratched the surface this morning, and we've got another couple of Sundays to be thinking about that. So if you want to come and join us for the rest of the series, or if you want to go on YouTube and watch the rest of the series, that's great. If you want to come to one service a month, at least initially, then second Sunday of the month is perhaps the place to be. It's just a little shorter, and just a little shorter, and less complicated, I hope, and enjoyable. So give it a try. The next second Sunday in the month, which actually is the church birthday, on the 11th of June. So come along to that. Okay, we're going to sing our closing song, When the Spirit of the Lord is Within My Heart. A good kind of a Jewish sounding tune, which is very appropriate for Abraham. And then at the end, Riley, can you come up after this song, just to close off, and read that again, what you read earlier on?